Hey everyone, here's a video for Real Cars TV. This is my 2018 Grand Cherokee SRT. It's got 475 horsepower, so this thing will really move. Give you a little bit of the side view here. You can see it's got Brembo brakes on it. Awesome stopping power on these brakes. It's got Pirelli Scorpion tires, run flat tires. They're 295 45 ZR20s, so 20-inch wide tire, lots of rubber on the surface. So the front was all blacked out. It came from the factory that way. The back, there was some stuff that wasn't blacked out, and I blacked it out so it would look a little better. I blacked out the tail lights and the marker lights. Got a custom plate here. That's the Arizona Cardinals. That's our football team. I'm not really a football fan, but it was the only black plate, so I wanted the plate to match the vehicle. So let me take you inside here. So the doors are pretty nice. Everything's all full leather inside, the doors and the dash. It's got some really cool carbon fiber inlays across the doors and into the dash, and then it's got this white stitching which really shows up nice. It's got SRT logos into the seats. The seats are really cool. The seats are both heated and air conditioned, so cool air comes out of them. And the sound system is Harman Kardon. It's by far the nicest sound system I've ever had in a vehicle. It's got 19 speakers, so they're just pretty much everywhere. Complete surround sound. Inside it's got like a dual sunroof, moonroof, so pretty much opens up the whole top. Let me start it up here. So when you take the sunshade back, you've got the front piece of glass comes open, and then the back is fixed. So you've got kind of a sunroof in the back seat. So it's got launch mode in it. So it's got settings where you can just change it easily to sport mode, which makes the steering a little tighter, suspension a little stiffer, and then track mode, which takes off the traction control. And then you also got a snow setting, and then it's got a launch button, so if you want to do 0 to 60s or quarter miles and time them, you can put it in launch mode. It's got custom mode, so if I hit custom here, it'll come up on the screen. And so if you want to do a custom mode, like I have my custom mode here for what I drive normally, which is I like the transmission to shift real aggressively, so I got it set in track. I keep the paddle shifters off because they're kind of annoying. You just bump them by mistake, and I'll just turn those on if I really want to use them. And you can adjust stability control, you can adjust all-wheel drive, suspension, and the steering. And if you want to do a custom setup, so you could change each one of these. So for all-wheel drive, you can change it to track mode, sport, street, or 50-50 power. Real easy to change these. You can even change them while you're driving if you want. And then there's when you're going to do the race options, so if you're going to do a launch, you can come to this screen and activate launch control, and then you can set the RPM that you want it to launch at, which is kind of a cool feature. So you can just slide the RPM up and down and change it. You can also, there's a shift light. If you want to shift manually, it'll come up over here on the dash and tell you when to shift. The light will come on at the shift points. Okay, so let's take a look at performance pages. Those are pretty cool. It'll take a few seconds to load them here. So some standard stuff here if you just want to look at several gauges while you're driving, horsepower, and speed and gears. And it's got a full set of timers, so you can do reaction time, you can do 0 to 60, 0 to 100, you can time quarter miles, eighth miles, you can also do brake stopping distance, or you can brake from a certain speed and it'll time it. You can also record these. You can take a photo of this screen. You can upload it to the cloud, or you can save it to a USB drive. It's got a lot of gauges, just kind of standard stuff here. G-force sensor is pretty cool. So it'll show you the acceleration all the way around. It's kind of hard to see anything when you're just sitting here, and then it stores the peak. You can see my peak accelerations have been, I don't know, 0.8 to 1 Gs. This engine screen will show you torque and horsepower. Has a dynamometer, which is kind of cool. Obviously it works a lot better when you're driving, and you can see it shifting gears, and you can record the history on that if you want. So it's got a lot of apps like internet type things, travel link. You can find, it's kind of like not directly to the internet, but it's through their apps. Send and Go is a pretty cool app, so I can look things up on my phone, find a place I want to go, and just hit send, and it'll send it through a satellite to the vehicle, and it'll just come up on the screen, and you can just say, yeah, I want to go to that location. Nothing special. Navigation is pretty much just a regular GPS. Integrates with CarPlay with Apple, so everything on your phone shows up here. All your contacts and messages come up. You can do it Bluetooth or through the cord. So if you get a text message, it'll come up and you can just hit play, and it'll actually read the text message to you, let you reply with voice, and it'll turn it back into text. On the dash here, you can, let me go through some of these settings. There's diagnostics, so it keeps all the diagnostics codes if you want to look that up if there's something wrong. The screen setup, you can pretty much customize this to look the way you want. You can change almost everything in this middle part, move it around, temperature, range. Pretty much normal fuel kinds of information. You can see I'm getting about 14.5 miles a gallon. That's all around town driving. That's about all I get, is about 14 to 15. If I put it in eco mode on the highway, I can get around 20 or 21. What eco mode does is it just cuts it from 8 cylinders to 4. So it'll just keep it on the highway and 4 cylinders running. And then if you really need the power and you step on the gas, it'll kick in the other 8, kind of still stay in eco mode, and then bring it back down to 4 when you're just cruising. So if I'm going on a long trip, that's fine. I mean, it gets you another 3-4 miles a gallon, I think. It's got top speed, so you can see that's as fast as I've ever had it at 125. Top speed is 160, and I think the tires are rated for 180. I mean, just regular, you know, you're only in 4th gear and you're at about 85 or 90, so you got 4 more gears to go. So just on the highway, it's pretty challenging to even get to the high end when you're really risking a bad ticket. The speed limit's mostly around 65 miles an hour, so at 125 you're almost double the speed limit, so that would be a pretty nasty ticket. They'd probably haul you off to jail if you were 60 miles over the limit here. Pretty much standard stuff here. You can run through the tire pressure, coolant temperature, transmission temperature, oil temperature, oil life, battery voltage, air intake, torque, horsepower. And back to the speed. Let's see what else. So I've got the lighting's not real great here, but you can kind of see my radar detector. So it's an Escort. It's got both front and rear detection on it. I have to say I've had this about 18 months and no tickets. So it's got the standard SOS and assist where you can actually call Jeep if you have an emergency. If the airbags go out, it'll automatically call them. What else? Sunglass holder, nothing special. Oh, it's got adaptive cruise control, which is kind of cool. So, see if I can get it to focus in a little better here. So it's got regular cruise control, but then it's got adaptive cruise control. So if I set the adaptive, I can actually change the distance here with these 2 buttons. I can change the distance I want to stay away from other cars. So you can continue to use the cruise control in really dense traffic. And if you're in back of another car, it'll just keep a safe distance. It'll slow you down. And then as soon as you pull out ahead of that or out to the side of that car, it'll pick back up and resume if it sees nothing in front of you. It does have collision avoidance, which I do keep on all the time. I can't say it's ever saved me. It once in a while goes off when it shouldn't, like somebody ahead of you, you know they're going to be out of the way, but it thinks that, you know, they're still kind of turning in front of you. So it'll come up in the first stage, it'll say brake, like big giant letters across the middle of the screen, brake. And then if it thinks you're not going to brake, then it'll start to apply the brakes, and it actually applies them pretty aggressively. I've had it go off a couple times and it kind of like scares you. It has parking assist, which to be honest I've never used and I don't even know how it really works. I guess you pull alongside parallel and hit the button and it's supposed to parallel park you on its own. It's got front and rear parking sensors. It's got this light in the middle, the thing with the light on, I have that off. So it has lane assist, which when I bought the vehicle and I was driving it home from the dealer, I said, wow, there's something wrong with this thing. It keeps pulling. Well, I didn't realize this was on. And what it does is it looks for the lines on the side of the road, and if you get too close, it'll just nudge you back over. Now, if you put a little extra pressure on it, you can push past that line and push on in. But it's just kind of a little warning. It's just annoying more than anything, especially if you're driving on 2-lane roads and there's nobody around. You know, you kind of want to cut the corners a little tight, and it's just annoying. So I just keep that off. And then there's the Eco mode, if you want to cut it into 4 cylinders. Which I guess I'm in track mode, so it won't let me do that. Yeah, okay, so I'm in Eco mode there. And then it's got a traction control, which you can turn off if you want. Well, I think that's about everything. So it's got phone controls right on the steering wheel, so you can make calls and not look away. And I can't really think of anything else. I think I covered it all. So all in all, it's an awesome vehicle. I actually got to drive not this one, but another Jeep Grand Cherokee on a track in Las Vegas. So when you buy this vehicle, they have like $1,000 into the price, which you have to pay even if you use it or not. But what it gives you is a full day of track experience with all the Chrysler and Jeep products. So this one I went to was in Vegas, and they have 3 of each car. So you get to drive the Charger, Challenger, Hellcat, Grand Cherokee, and the Viper. And what you do, they have a bunch of different courses. You do like a slalom, you do some obstacle courses, braking tests. And then they take you out on the track, and they have a professional driver in a lead car, and then you follow them around the track. And they will let you go as fast as you can, but you have to keep up with them. And I kind of call it like racing for dummies. They actually have all these cones set up on the track, so it shows you where to brake, where to accelerate, which side of the track you should be on, which is actually really cool, because in the first lap, like you kind of have it down, even though you've never been on that track before. You're just kind of following the cones, because there's some really big curves. If you don't know the track, you don't know what's coming up, and you don't know which side of the track to be on. Unfortunately, the track had a very short straightaway. It wasn't even, I think it was only like 1,200 feet. So you really couldn't get any real big speed. I think I got the Viper up to like 105. That's about as fast as I could get it. And they wouldn't let us shift in the Viper. It was the only manual transmission. They just wanted you to keep it in 4th gear. But it was still cool. The Viper is just incredible horsepower, and it just really sticks to the track. So the only bad thing about it is you drive one of these Grand Cherokees on the track and you know, really push it hard, and then you get back in your car in the parking lot, and it's real disappointing, because you're like, wait, I was just driving at 100 miles an hour and taking these curves, and now I can't go 55 or 65 miles an hour on the highway. So but you really see the true capability of the car whenever you're allowed to ride it on the track like that. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this, and it's been great talking to you. Bye.